Hi everyone, Tim Ard here, Forest Applications Training, and just wanted to share with you a little Tim's tips. For years we taught a method we call triangulation or stick trick for checking the height of trees, and more or less you can take a stick longer than your arm, set up the length of it, and be able to walk back and put the tree picture into the stick length and then know exactly how far that tree is going to reach when it's felled. It can be used for several different things. You can use it for checking to make sure you have a spot wide enough and long enough for the tree, but it can also be used to check height to a limb crotch or whatever, so that you can be able to identify how many feet of rope you might need, or can the lift reach that position, or is that limb going to hit something on the ground that we need to make sure that we investigate a little further. So there's a lot that you can do with height measure that makes it a very valuable tool. But several years ago, I came up with a little concept, and we call it the cross sight. It's a pocket height guide that makes it pocket size to be able to carry it with you, but it's kind of a unique little tool. And so maybe I can kind of show it here. It's there we go. And you can also be able to turn it, and it kind of resembles a cross. So that's why I call it a cross sight. I designed it several years ago, and it can be picked up at 2 or 3 different locations. If you'll send me a message reply, I'll be glad to give you the information where to find it. But in other words, this works basically the same way. And what happens here is you take and you unfold it. These 2 points here and here, that would be like the end of the stick. So you take and you want to get that whole object, the whole tree in that particular picture, or up to the limb you're checking, whatever. And it goes up to your forehead, because that your eye is the back of the triangle. And what they say is, if you know 2 sides of an equal triangle, you know the third. So more or less, this tree will formulate by sight. You back from it till you have that in the center post of the triangle. The triangle extends on the other side also. So when you put it up here, you back up until you have that whole tree or whatever you're measuring. And then pretty much below the eye will be where that lands. Now, there is a little bit of a calculation that you have to think about, and that's thinking through elevation above or below the base of the tree. If you are standing above the base by groundfall, you have to make sure that you back up the amount of groundfall. So if it's 2 or 3 feet, then basically it's your measurement's going to be 2 or 3 feet short. So you have to back up the 3 feet. If you're below the pivot point, your notch or hinge on the tree as you fell it, then basically you would walk forward the amount of groundfall. So that would be 3 foot forward in that case. It gets kind of tricky, and I haven't found anybody to explain it to me at this point, but if it's higher than your height or lower than your height, sometimes it adds, sometimes it takes it away. So be kind of cautious. You want to give yourself a little bit of fudge factor there if you've got an object that you're measuring to. But this can be used in a lot of different ways to make sure that you're calculating. I had a gentleman had called me several years ago to inquire about some training, and he said we had a little incident. Probably need to have a little refresher course for my guys. And so I told him what we had, and before we got off the phone, I said, "You mind telling me what the incident was?" And he said, "Oh, they got in a little hurry, dropped a pine tree off the right of way and hit a lady's house." And I said, "Well, they must not known how tall the tree was." He said, "Oh, it's hard to tell how tall they are sometimes." And I after the training, he was a believer that you can find out, you can tell by using triangulation. So it's something to think through there. Very valuable tool. But again, you more or less place it onto your forehead. That the tree height would be, you back up till you have the whole tree in this picture. Directly below your eye would be the height of the tree. So it's very easy to calculate. There's also some other measurements or figures on here, and that is kind of a quick calculation on segments on the tree, and I've got that explained on our website at www.forestapps.com. But what that is it breaks down just some, I guess you'd say, basic figures that if you had a base of the tree that was a 1 foot diameter from your hinge to the lift point at 45 feet, you'd have 45 segments. If you had a 2 foot tree, then you would basically only have 23 segments, and those are broken out as far as how to calculate the segment on the particular base. It doesn't have to be all that accurate, but it gives you a clear picture of what you're going to have to think about in wedge lift, how many wedges you might need to be able to take it, or if you're even pulling with a rope, it would give you the amount of tilt that it would take to put that tree in gravity motion, I guess you'd say. So that's the cross sight. It's a pocket height sight, and it is available from treestuff.com and off my website at forestapps.com, and so you can check that out. If you want more information, leave me a message or comment on the video. We'll be glad to get more information to you. But it's an excellent tool to go along with your planning process when felling trees. And like I say, you can use a stick. That's a little bit cheaper in some cases, but it is something that works very well. This is just a pocket version of that stick system. So hope you find that interesting. Thanks very much for dropping by. Please subscribe. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you along the ForestApps Road someday, I hope. And we wish you good sawing.